Hey everybody, it's me, DeoGenZ, here with another episode of Pokemon Potential. On today's Potentiality, we are gonna peruse what the powers of a certain plant starter final evolved poke could be. It is the second gen's Meganium, and I do imagine sometimes what a Mega Meganium might look like. Who knows? An entire rainforest could sprout from its neck. But what you can be sure of, even without any Mega Evolutions, is that this is an awesome supporter. Now, unlike the first fully evolved starter of the Johto region we talked about, Typhlosion, where his strategy is hit him hard and hit him fast, my personal favorite, Meganium is all about playing it slow and being there as a supporting member for your team. Now, I realize we haven't really talked much about supporters on this show, so now's the best time, if any. And what they're meant to do is either give power-ups or take away status afflictions or give health to other members of your team that are more potent in stats such as physical or special attack or speed. Basically, Meganium sticks around to give your sweepers a little bit more longevity than they would have on their own. Now, let me give you a perfect example. Say, for example, your sweeper got poisoned, and there's nothing you can do about it, there's no benefits you gain from it, there's no facade you have, there's no poison heal, there's no point for you to have poison on that poke. It's just a big problem. So for the time, you retract it, hoping that late game it'll have some sort of chance to shine again. Hopefully not going up against something that's quicker and more strong, which unfortunately later in the game is possible, especially if you haven't seen all of your opponent's pokes. That's another thing that Meganium does specifically well here, but we'll touch on that later. So what you would use a supporter for is getting rid of that poison. There are moves that exist in metagame, and personally I didn't know this until I started playing metagame, because for the main story I thought, why would I need any of these silly healing moves? My pokes don't really get injured in that sort of way all too often. So one of these supporting moves is aromatherapy, and what that does is it spreads a nice, beautiful odor all over the field, but more importantly, it heals all of your pokes' status conditions. So burn, poison, paralysis, freeze, all of those have been unlocked, and your pokes are back to what they were before they had the status affliction. Now, there are other supporting moves like Wish, which I don't believe this Meganium has possession of, but for that, you set up a Wish, you switch out a poke, and then that Wish gets granted to the poke that just switched out, so that the health is given to then that switched out poke, ideally your sweeper, and not the original supporter who launched the Wish. Supporters are traditionally bulky in both physical and special defense. If you think about it, they really need to be, because how are they going to help out your team re-heal themselves if they can't stand on the field for more than a few turns to launch these maneuvers? Now, another thing that supporters do is set up arena traps and things of that nature. So with Meganium here, you see it's a mixed kind of supporter. It's not only out to help your team, it's not only out to destroy your opponent's team. It's a healthy mix, and quite frankly, I think that if you're setting up any supporter, you should have a significant blend of both assist and destruction packed away in your moveset there. Now for Meganium, it's very awesome because it has the ability to re-heal itself. Not only can it help with status afflictions of your teammates, but it also is around a lot longer on its own just thanks to synthesis. And here's something about synthesis that you may not know, but in the sunlight it's even stronger. So if you're putting Meganium on, say, a sunny day team, which would not be a bad choice, then you're going to get a lot more health boosts from the sun being out than you would just playing on a normal team and attaching Meganium to it. So even there's minor things you might want to consider in team formation. Should I put it on a sunny day team? Should I not? Because that does alter the play of Meganium here. Now, something else that would alter the play of Meganium, however, unfortunately it's not available for now, is Leaf Guard. Leaf Guard is a hidden ability that, again, activates in the sunlight, so that when it's strong sunlight on the field, your poke doesn't get any status conditions. It's awesome. Now, let me clarify, because we've been talking about status conditions quite a lot this episode. I'm talking about Meganium does not uptake any poison, paralysis, freezing, or burn. However, if you switch to another teammate, they still would, because they don't have the Leaf Guard ability. It seems obvious, but since I've been mentioning status conditions and how you can help your whole team with a few moves and things like that, I didn't want you to get the impression that this ability also functioned in that way. It's only for Meganium, and it's only unavailable at this point. It's unfortunate because I've noticed that for all the Johto starters, all of their hidden abilities are locked. And it makes me curious, it makes me think, it makes me wonder, could something be in the works for Johto? I don't know, and this isn't the time to speculate that, but all I'm hoping is not another remake, just a trip back to Johto with a new, fresh story and some new faces and things of that nature. But we could talk about that in another video. As I was saying, it's an awesome supporter. So the offense for Meganium comes in Dragon Tail and Toxic. Now, of course, if you get taunted, then you can't use a whole lot of what your supporter is here to do. However, the good thing is you have Dragon Tail. Dragon Tail is exclusively on this set to stop you from being taunt blocked, and also to switch out those annoying taunters in the first place. So the way that Meganium works is that it's an encroaching virus of toxicity in a way, because it won't just be your first poke that you have sent out when you're facing a Meganium that will be poisoned if it's raised properly. No, it will be most of your team if you don't have any steel or poison types at your disposal. Because what Dragon Tail does is, yes, it does some damage, and okay, its special attack is slightly higher than its physical attack, pretty much by base 1 stat, literally. But it doesn't matter, because the secondary effect of Dragon Tail is what you're shooting for. It switches out the Pokemon it strikes, so that you have another chance to toxify somebody else in your opponent's team. See how it works? It's awesome. Your team stays poison-free, status-free, thanks to aromatherapy. Meganium lasts on the field so long as it doesn't come into contact with one of its many weaknesses you must be aware of. That's why I displayed them all here. But when you don't have that trouble, re-heal using Synthesis. If you're in the sun, it's even more satisfactory. And keep toxifying. That's the point of Meganium. It's here to support your team. It's here to make sure that your sweepers can perform optimally, that they're not held back by paralysis, because that can really lock down a sweeper's speed. If you don't know, getting paralyzed will make you very slow. It will make you the lowest priority, unless you use a higher priority move like Aqua Jet or Mach Punch, but you might not necessarily have that in your moveset. While I'm mentioning movesets, let's go over the extra moves that it has access to. Giga Drain is great, because obviously you can re-heal some of your health with an attack, not having to separately use Synthesis and take a whole turn to do that. The disadvantage to that, and of course it's a stab move, same type attack bonus sort of thing always applies. But the bad part of that is that you'd have to switch it out for Dragon Tail or Toxic. I wouldn't dare switch out Aromatherapy or Synthesis, because then it really kind of slashes what this supporter can do. I want my supporter to support. I don't want it to be an all-out attacker. That doesn't make any sense. So that's why I didn't really include it in this set, because I love toxicity, and Dragon Tail is just too good to pass up, having that switch out going on. Grass Whistle is a good tactic. However, the problem with this move is that it has a very low accuracy. So use with your own caution, but putting pokes to sleep is a great strategy if you can get it off. Heal Pulse is, I believe, an interesting new move that was introduced in the 6th gen, because I don't recall seeing it in the earlier black and white sets for Meganium. However, Heal Pulse is not really a thing to be used in single-player matches, because it will heal up the target with I think, a third of the user's health. So basically, whoever is using Heal Pulse, a third of their health will go to whoever the target is, if that makes any sense. I'm hoping I'm phrasing it right here. But pretty much, if you shoot a Heal Pulse at your opponent standing right in front of you, which is the only way you can go about doing that, you can't Heal Pulse yourself, unfortunately. You need a target that's not you. Then you're going to help your opponent out, and that does not really work. Yes, it's a supporter, but not for your opponent. That's pointless and goes against everything metagame masters know and love. So you don't want to do that. However, a smart strategy to use with this new move is bring this poke into double battle. Bring it in with something that it's compatible to. Bring it in with something that has low defenses and you know you're going to be healing it often. This way, they're almost going to have to not focus on your sweeper just to take out your annoying supporter that keeps rehealing your sweeper so that they're distracted, and then, like I said, your sweeper can do all the good sweepings that it needs to do because it is not the main focus of the double battle. I honestly have not done a lot of double battles, so I can't even begin to pretend like I know some good strategies for that. The best strategies I know for it are, combinations like hydration or water absorb rather and surf, or levitate and earthquake, simple things like that. But this is another grand example of how you can take something that's already great as a supporter in the single one-on-one matches and make it even better, but a different type of supporter in versatility for a double battle. Make it reheal your actual health instead of just eliminate all status afflictions. So that would about do it for my rundown of Meganium. The effort values are pretty self-explanatory. You want this thing to be as bulky as possible. Its speeds are acceptable, and if you fear that, maybe you're going to be one-upped by some of your super effective weaknesses there, and you want to get a jump on them, maybe reallocate some of the EVs towards speed. But I find this set working, for me, the best because it gives you a good bulk on physical and special side, and it allows you to have the max health that Meganium could possibly have. Plus, you've got all your key supporting moves. So like an engineer from Guns of Icarus, Meganium sits in the background, making sure your sweepers are ship-shape for destruction. And if you don't know what I mean by Guns of Icarus, don't worry, I'm just referring to a Steam game that you all should get and add me, because it's very fun, and it's all about teamwork, just like Metagame Mastery is. So consider these, and please make sure to be my supporter and share every episode of Pokemon Potential. Trust me, it's good for you too, because if you do, it automatically enters you in to win a shiny every 10 episodes of this series. Don't believe me? Check out episode 10. Somebody actually walked away with a shiny Dratini, which I hope to see in the future in battle, and I'm sure I will. So, be sure to share, and I will see you next week.